Hello my friends, and welcome to Tom's Tinkering and Adventures. Oh, look at that. I was working in the yard. I got some goodies here. Let me check closer. So once again, here we are in the Global Domination headquarters garage. And I am going to get to a project which I put off for a couple days. I actually did some other stuff that I've put off longer, even though I should have probably knocked this one out because I'm working on it for a friend of mine. But it is changing out some spark plugs on this Ford F-150 here. And this is a 2007 Ford F-150. If any of you all are familiar at all with this vehicle, it has a 5.4 liter V8. It's called the 3-valve engine. And they are notorious for having issues getting the spark plugs out. Now, I'd heard about this. I'd never owned one of these vehicles. I've never done this job before, so I never really looked into it that much. But when it came time to go pick up the spark plugs, they were the Motorcraft Ford ones. There you go, Ford Motorcraft spark plugs. They were $12.20 each. So 8 spark plugs is almost $100 just for the plugs alone. And they definitely have an interesting design. If you're familiar with spark plugs, these do not look anything like a normal spark plug. And part of the reason why these are notoriously bad is because this whole bottom section threads in, well, it doesn't thread in, this is the threaded part, but this goes into the cylinder head, and what happens is this gets carbon baked on it. And the original design plugs were multiple pieces, so this part was separate from this one. I think this is a redesigned one, and they're all one piece now. But what happens is this part comes out, the top part, turn that, that'll come out, and this part will stick in the cylinder head. Now this is such an issue that there are several designed tools out there to remove these broken spark plugs. Crazy. But I've looked up different ways that people do it. They say to get the engine hot, crank it out a little bit, spray some penetrating oil in there, wiggle it back and forth. I've seen other people say to do the same technique cold. I've seen people say use a impact wrench because the impact will break all the carbon off of here. So I don't know. I've thought about it and I just don't know which route I'm going to do. So I guess what I'm going to do first is do one that I heard about with the impact wrench. The guy said just get the engine nice and hot and pull out 2, 3, 4 of them when it's hot, replace those, start the engine up again, and then get the other couple, just do a couple at a time. So I guess I'm going to try it. I'm really concerned about breaking these off, but you know what? I do just about everything in this garage, so I don't know why I'm letting this spark plug job intimidate me, but it has a little bit. But that's it. That's it. Today we're doing it, damn it. So here we go. Let's see what happens. If you have compressed air, an air compressor, before you start working on something like this spark plugs, it's always a good idea to try to blow out the area. I mean, get as much dirt and dust out of the way as you can. So watch your eyes, watch your ears. Okay, the first step you got to do, sorry about this, let me just hold the camera, it's just a little bit tricky to get in here, is there's the coil packs. Now those sit right on top of these spark plugs. Sorry about this, just kind of having a hard time getting in here, standing on a milk crate and everything. So you can see there's a bolt on there, so you got to take that off. That's a 7mm. I'm actually working on this one, I've got it loose. Let me see if I can pull the bolt out. Well, I'll show you, tell you what, it's kind of hard to see in here. I'll show you what one looks like here. There you go. So there's the coil pack, and that goes way down inside of here. I already got a little excited and I removed one. The camera wasn't on. I thought it was. So anyway, let's see. I got the bolt out of the second one, but it's all buried under all these wires. So as usual, working on cars, you ain't got enough room to work on stuff most of the time, and you got to move things out of the way. So let me get some stuff out of the way, and I'll see if I can't get this impact wrench in here and get that one out and show you how it works. I don't know how well you're gonna be able to see this, but boy, I'm just barely gonna be able to get this second one out. I don't know if I'll be able to get in here with the third one with my impact wrench, but we'll see if the second one even comes out. Oh. And now, welcome to the jungle. There you go. Okay. Sorry about all that. I had a phone call right in the middle of getting that second spark plug out. All right, let's see if we can get it out of there. Shazam. There's number 2. 1 and 2. All right, we're doing okay. All right, let's see if we can get the next one out. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm at the halfway point, and of course it's the easy half. I got 4 of these out, the 4 easy ones in the front. Now the back ones, I cannot get in there with my impact wrench, so I'm just gonna have to hope, and I guess I might even have to pray. Might have to get a little spiritual. I may possibly be able to get the third one back on each, but that fourth one, I'm just not gonna be able to get it unless I go purchase, they have what's called a compact impact wrench, and it's about that big instead of this big. And I've wanted one for a while anyway, but I don't know, I don't use my air tools as much as I should. Maybe I should just go get one? We'll see here. Yeah, look at that, I'm getting dirty. Not fair. But let me see what I can do. We'll figure this out, and we'll continue forward. All right, so I did manage to get the third one out on the driver's side. So I got 5 of 8 out so far. I'm gonna put the new ones in now while I'm at this point. And I'm just gonna show you an old trick. This is something I learned on the farm growing up. My dad, when it comes to putting in the spark plugs, you can get yourself a piece of rubber hose, put it on there. Let's see if we can show you what's going on here. And we'll go in the first hole here, make it easiest. Hopefully you can see this here. So I can use that, and I can just turn this hose, which will start the spark plug threaded in there. And there's no way you're gonna cross thread it by turning a hose. So it's just a way to get them started, especially on an engine like this where it's way inside. So there's your garage hack for the day. And number 6 of 8. Well, that's actually number 4 spark plug, but it's the 6th out of 8 that I've gotten out so far, and by far the rustiest and the dirtiest one to get to, all the way in the back on the driver's side. So I've gotten all 4 of these and the front 2 on here. Now to get the back 2 on this side, well, maybe you can even see this one right here. That's the coil pack for the 7th one. And then back there, you can see just beyond my dirty fingertip there, you can see the bolt to remove that coil pack for the 8th one. To get to those, I'm probably gonna have to drop this piece off, which I think is the computer, the ECM, or whatever they call it. So I'm gonna take a little break. Well, I'm gonna put in the spark plugs that I have removed already, take a little break, and we'll get that off. Oh yeah, I was gonna show you something else here too. So I blew all this out, and after you get these spark plugs out, you blow down in these holes, and just a crazy amount of rust comes out of there. Let me see if I can get it on video here for you. Just so much rust in there, it's ridiculous. That one didn't have too much, actually. The ones on the other side was an orange cloud came out of there. So I'm gonna try to get that nozzle into that back one that I just took out that was so rusty. It makes me wonder if this has been done on this truck or not before. And some shady mechanics, which, you know, I have my shady times, but when I'm working on stuff for people, I don't mind being a little shady on my own stuff, because I know what I've done. But if I'm working on something for somebody else, ain't no way I'm gonna do a shady job for them unless they say, hey, don't worry about that. But some shady mechanics will just change the front 3 on each side here, and they won't change the back ones. So I'm gonna take a look at that spark plug and see if it looks at all different than the other ones, because it is considerably rustier. That's 7, boys and girls, 7 out of 8. All right, I did remove this, had really good access to that 7th one. Now the 8th one, way back in there. And what is this here? Air conditioning maybe? That's right in the way. That one's gonna be tough to get even with just a regular socket. And I got this one out on the back with just the socket. All the rest of these I use the air impact. And I'm sure if any of y'all are mechanics and you're watching this, you're like shaking your head that no, you don't do spark plugs with an impact wrench. But I tell you what, it definitely reduced my stress levels. And I watched a couple of other YouTube videos of people professing their love for doing the impact on this as well. So I don't know. It's just another technique, and you definitely ain't putting them back in with the impact wrench. But when you see how rusty they are when they come out, and you read all the horror stories, and you see all the specialty tools they make. A number of different companies make specialty tools just for this problem. So Ford, you done messed up on this, but well, we'll see. We'll see how number 8 goes. Let me get in there. That's right. I am the champion. No time for losers, because I am the champion. Yeah, we got 8 for 8. 8 for 8. Awesome. Now, I am going to head over back to the Vato zone, and I think I'm going to replace all these coil packs too. I was looking at some aftermarket ones, but they're going to take a couple days. My buddy who I'm working on this for is moving out of town. I don't know if he's got a couple days, and I've had his truck for a couple days as well while I let this kind of kick my ass in my mind. So I'm gonna get these in now. RTFM, ladies and gentlemen, RTFM, read the freaking manual and torque these things down. I guess I didn't really show it on here, but you also want to put some let me see here, anti-seize. Let's get into, put some anti-seize on the threads on these, as well as on this first little bit here. You don't want to get it all the way down here, foul up the electrode, but a little bit down here's not going to hurt either. So I'm gonna go get those torque specs and torque those in. I'll run over to the auto parts store and we'll install these new coil packs. Picked up a nice new set of coils here from the AutoZone Duralast. What I like about AutoZone is that this stuff here is, let's see if we can zoom in on this or see it here in the crappy light. Lifetime warranty. I know you can't see it here. I'm sorry, the light's bad in here. Lifetime warranty. So even though this is my friend's truck that I'm working on for, if he has any issue with these, all he has to do is contact me. They're under my name, and I usually do that. Just let him know, hey, if you have an issue, hit me up and I can get you free replacement parts. And they're really good about it. I had alternator on my last pickup. I had my pickup for 20 years, replaced the alternator once. The GM one went out, bought the Duralast one, and that one went out, and just brought it in, got a replacement. No problem. Now, before I install these, we're going to put a little bit of the good old dielectric grease right here on the end of this where it goes into the spark plug. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this grease to all these, get them installed, and we will fire up this truck and see, make sure that it still runs when I'm done. I'll try to take you with me here under the hood, and oh, there we go. That's part of the problem. We'll try to keep the mechanic language to a minimum here for you. After looking at how dirty my hands were, I tried to try some gloves here, but you know, sometimes I wear these rubber gloves, but you really lose a lot of feel. It's kind of funny how just that extra little bit of feel helps you get, oh, excuse my arm right in front of the camera, there you go. Get the bolts where you want them, and then turning them in by hand and stuff. You would think that these thin rubber, or nitrile as they're called, nitrile rubber gloves, wouldn't let you lose that much feeling, but they sure do. But at the end of the day, you know, it's nice not to have that mechanic's manicure. It's like a French manicure, but it's instead of those white tips or whatever you get for the French manicure, you get the little black tips on your cuticles and stuff. Yeah, all right, and then the last step is, of course, trying to get these connectors on here. And sometimes they make a nice satisfying click, and sometimes they don't. It's really nice to hear it click in there, but that one sure didn't. All right, so the last thing I gotta do is I took a couple of bolts out of there. I'll put them back in, and then we'll get inside. I'll maybe wash up a little bit before I get in, and we'll start this truck up and listen to it. And I located a can of some engine degreaser, so I might just clean up the engine a little bit for my buddy here. All right, I got no reason not to think this thing should start right up, because it's just spark plugs, but you know what? You just never know. All right, easy day. Sounds just fine. All right, we're gonna bring it over and we'll take a look at the engine before I clean it and after I clean it. We'll see how it looks. Here's the engine bay before we hit it with this engine cleaner. Most modern engines, everything is pretty well sealed up. You know, if you're working on an old car, you got a carburetor and a distributor and all that, but you got to think about it. People get a little bit crazy about spraying water on an engine. Your car can drive through rain. You're driving through rain, water's shooting up here. It's not going to hurt it to spray some water on it from a garden hose. So just read the instructions on the can and give it a shot, and we'll see what it looks like here. It definitely says to use it on a warm engine, not a hot engine, so I ran it for about 2 or 3 minutes until the temp gauge just came off cold a little bit. So we'll spray it down with this stuff here, and then we'll hit it with the hose, and we'll see what the after looks like. Pruny fingers. That's another fun part about using them gloves. You get the pruny fingers, but the fingernails stay kind of clean. All right, let's go take a look here. Cat, what are you doing? Cats are just as helpful as the dogs around here. All right. Well, we hosed it off. It took a lot of the grease off of the, like the reservoirs, windshield washer reservoir, and the power steering, and the brake, and the coolant reservoir. Now, if you really want to get it clean, you got to get in here with a brush. You can see it didn't take off a lot of this dirt. I didn't scrub anything. I just sprayed it down, let it soak. So, but it will knock off the big chunks of stuff. And as usual with my videos, I'm outside, so I get this awesome light issues. But we got the tune-up done on it. I got to add a half a quart of transmission fluid. It's a half a quart low. Check all the other fluids. Look over the rest of this thing and hand it on over to my buddy so he can move to the East Coast. I'll be sad to see him go. But he's getting out of California, so there's something to be said about that. Hey, you know what? Look at this. We got palm tree in the back. I'm wearing shorts and flip-flops here. So, California, good, bad, whatever, you know. Every place you go has got something. Thank you very much for watching. Get out there and find your adventure. Adios.